speak at the last so as he or she can listen to everybody first. Listening is the most important aspect of a good leadership. And hello.
Yes, continue, Asaba.
Okay, okay. A good leader should be secure enough to listen someone, like everyone in its circle. Listening is the very important quality. And he a good leader should be secure enough to listen to others expectations and never thought of himself better or upper than anyone else. Good leadership could be established that also gives a reason to survive to an organization, like uh, uh, like in the example of AMU, the vision Sir Syed Ahmed Khan has carved out, that is good leadership. Second point, we have adaptability. Adaptability, that is change. Taking example of Aligarh Muslim University, mm, the way the surroundings, the its surroundings changes, new people, diversity have, it has faced some diversity every year, or like it's, every day weather changes or like a new innovation or something comes. AMU, Aligarh Muslim University, always try to stay to, like try to be like those, accept those changes. Yes. Third one is uplifting vision. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan saw vision for AMU, and he, like he focuses on two aspects, that is talim and tarbiyat. It never loses its relevance. It always, we always need talim and tarbiyat both. And the last one is core values, which were imbibed by all the members of the organization, and that makes it more a community, not a organization. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vasa. Yes. Faisal there?
Yes, sir. Faisal is
Usman,
there.
Yeah.
am I audible?
Yes, you are audible but not visible.
Sir, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mr. Jamal. I'm going to give a presentation on the recap of the yesterday class that was on 1st of February. So the class started with the example of some blind people who want to feel how elephant look like. The person who felt the body of the elephant describes it as a ball. The one who felt the body uh, who felt the tail described it as a snake, and the one who felt the feet described it like a tree, and the one who felt the ear described it like a fan. The thing was that none of them were actually correct, but they were correct in their ways because they didn't see the whole picture, which deduces us to the conclusion that we don't see things like the way they are instead the way they are. And similarly, the object of our subject is to see all the different perspectives and integrate them all into one. Then we move on our discussion on the Arnold J. Toynbee, who wrote the book A Study of History in a total of 12 volumes and published it from 1934 to 1961. He studied about the 21st civilization, out of which only 9 were surviving and 3 are still rising. To summarize this book in a sentence, he quoted that a civilization dies from suicide, not by murder. His study of the civilization is often used in the study of the organization, that whether those organizations will last long or not. Then Sir gave the example of Nelson Mandela, who was one of the greatest leaders. He was former president and first president of South Africa, a civil rights advocate, Nobel Peace Prize winner. He was also awarded with Nishani Pakistan and Bharat Ratna. He spent 27 years in prison, and His leadership skill comes from his father, who was chief of his tribe, and his tribe was the head tribe among other 15 tribes. Uh, Whenever he goes to the meeting, he saw that the meetings always held in a circular pattern, so that you cannot distinguish a leader from other people. The leader always speak in the end, which make the situation less biased and uh, and also a very efficient way to come to a conclusion. Then we move on to the question why Aligarh Muslim University is still surviving as well as performing well after more than 100 years. So to summarize the thing, we could say that there are three things, which is adaptability, uplifting vision, and core values. If we see for our institution, the whole institution acts as a community which comprises of students, teacher, and the alumni network, and all of them share some common values. The common values that they share are derived from the vision of its founder, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, whose, whose vision was to have a modern education system without compromising on the value. In the hour of emergency after 1947, the post-partition era, when most of the majority of the university staff left for Pakistan, it was Dr. Zakir Hussain who took the charge and became Vice Chancellor of our university. Although he was banished from here in 1920, but he performed really well and take our institution to the new height. Thank you. That's all. Yes, sir.
That's all, Faisal?
Yes.
So we have listened to Shubham and Saba and Faisal, and Shubham has presented his ideas very clearly, and he has noted correctly that in his case also he's very sound. He sounds very sound on his technical skills, especially because he has been applying his technical skills to live projects. So, and he demonstrates some research orientation also. The experience of research assistant that he said, where he analyzed 50 odd papers to understand that particular technical issue he was talking about. So he sounds good overall, but I think what he needs, like, if we call icing on the cake, that is the language flow. So if you develop command over language, then I think you will excel as a professional. Although you have all the other ingredients like basic commitment to apply your knowledge to practical situations. So all that is fine. You have lived your life meaningfully, but in these 2 years, work on your language skills. I think Zareen ma'am has already circulated that note. So those of us who feel that yes, they need polishing of their language skills, we will make some special efforts for them. So those who wish, they can join that. Maybe, but we have to restrict it to smaller group, not more than 20, I think. Because then only you'll be able to pay personal attention to people. Okay, so that's Shubham. And now coming to the recap presentation by Saba and Faisal Jamal. I think I would like to compliment both of them for the content which they arranged. So they covered all the points, although there was a difference between Saba and Faisal on that account, in the sense that maybe Faisal's preparation, especially crystallizing of the content, was more crisp than Sabas. So that is why Faisal could finish his presentation in the given time, which was 5 minutes. And Saba's presentation got extended. But he was, as regards Faisal's areas of improvement, which I could gather in this limited interaction, I think you need to be slightly more expressive. You know, the face also communicates. So a more expressive face, more, emotion filled face, indicating that you are into it. You did a good job. It was a clear presentation, but it was not a very forceful job. A job which, a presentation which makes an impact. So focus next time on the force of your delivery, and that will add to your performance.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
And Asaba, you have an expressive face, and you speak with understanding. Like,
Hello,
for example, if you keep
sir.
touching
So your voice is
So your voice is breaking.
making the presentation. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So Maya, I was sorry, Asaba. Maya is your
Yes, sir.
sister.
Yes, sir.
So Asaba, I think try to control your non-verbal gestures while making presentation. If we, for example, touch our face
Yes, sir.
too many times during the course of presentation,
Yes, sir.
or we keep moving back and forth, to more stable,
Yes, sir.
firm, and alert posture
Okay, sir.
will make an even more positive impact on your delivery.
Okay, sir.
But overall, you did a good job. But try to be more crisp in your delivery. And what I have noted about Faisal, so you can take a cue from his performance on this account. As we say, all of us are not wrong. We are incomplete. This applies to us also.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So we have to learn from others
Okay,
what
sir.
what is good that they are doing, and we have to incorporate that also in our present. So now I think I would like to, before we start our discussion on the second unit, there was one issue which I did not discuss, although I raised that issue during the course of our conversation on Unit 1. And I think this is the right time when we move on to other functional areas, or other management functions, that is planning, organizing, and leading and controlling. I have raised an issue as to, out of these four management functions, which one is more important? Like, we are now going to discuss planning. Is planning the most important function?
Yes, sir, I think planning is the most important one.
Some managing, because sometimes it happens that we make plans but we do not obey them due to lack of our own management, time management, and other sort of management.
But sir, planning is a part of management.
Hmm.
Sir,
It
I
is
think planning is most important because it's the initial step. If we don't plan,
so
Yes, sir,
everything
I
needs
think
plan, whether it is
all are important, sir.
anything. Everything needs a plan.
because
So
if we
first we
have a proper
need a plan and then implement it. So planning is the first thing.
So, out of those four functions which we talked about, planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, uh, Those who are, let us hear the arguments of those who are in favor of planning, the most important function. If you feel that,
Yes, sir.
what is your argument? Why do you think planning is the most important?
For doing anything, you should first plan the thing and then going to do anything about that. So the planning is the first thing or the primary thing to do. That's my thinking.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Without planning,
Yes,
we cannot proceed further.
I want to understand it in holistically. So when you speak, please switch on your videos, especially. I would prefer you keep the video switch on, otherwise also. But especially when you are speaking, please switch on your video.
So I believe planning is the most important function of management because first of all, if we have a proper plan, then only we'll be able to implement it effectively and efficiently, and all the other functions of our management depend on planning itself.
Okay.
So planning is the most important part of management because
Now,
without a
please
yes sir.
switch on your video.
So am
Yes. Yes.
So planning is a most important part because without planning we'll not able to know what we have to take the actions. Even if we are going to make a tea, we have to first plan the process. Then we'll be able to get that. To give us a direction, we need planning in management. Without planning, we will not be able to know what we have to manage. First, we have to plan the strategy. Then we'll be able to know that what we have to manage.
Okay, Umar
Thank you,
and Arma. So are there some who feel that maybe organizing is more important?
Sir, before planning,
Yes, Shubham.
Sir, before planning, sir, conducting ground level surveys is important because if we understand the actual demand of the public, then we are able to we are able to plan in a better way.
No, surveys, by that, what do you mean? Is it, look at it from, class it in one of those four functions which we have initially discussed. That is planning, organizing, leading, and control. So your description of the key managerial challenge, which you say ground level surveys to understand the situation, where would you put it?
Sir, in everything, sir.
No, out of those four management functions, where would you put it?
Sir, conducting surveys comes under the comes under the planning part, sir.
Planning part. Okay. So you are in favor of plan. Talim.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You want to say?
Yes, sir. I think, sir, organizing is the most important thing because first of all, we have to sort the thing according to the priority. First, we have to prioritize. Then we could put them under one slab, organize them, and then we can execute the plan. That how the things are going to work. So, in my opinion, I think that organizing the things is the most important.
Sir, I think planning is more important. Unless you plan, you won't be able to organize, you won't be able to sort out what we have to do. So I think first we have to plan and then only we can move forward with organizing, leading and the other one.
Okay, Vanshika, you want to say something?
Sir, I think planning is the most important part because it's the basis of all the further actions we are going to have.
And what about, so there was one who argued for organizing also. Let us come to the third function, that is leading.
Yes, sir. So according to me, leading is the most important part. So am I audible?
Yes, very much.
Yes, you are.
Okay. So, according to me, leading is the most
But
important part because when we were being taught about leading, we were told that influencing people in a way that they can be efficient and effective for an organization, leading is very important. So, maintaining, molding, and managing comes under leading. So, according to me, leading is the most important part.
but sir, for making any kind of organization or doing anything, you need a plan first, and then you can do another thing. So I think
But
planning is the
unless and
primary
until,
thing.
okay.
Okay, you can.
So I think
Sir, I agree with Anam because sir, it happens that maybe you have 100 or 150 people working under you, and more
Anam, I
the
think
people and
your
more the
connection is
point of
slightly
views.
looks like unstable.
Um,
So you can switch
so
off your video and
so
please. Pratiksha, I want to get a hang of Anam's argument first, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
so am I audible? Sir, I think there's some
Anam,
network
you can
Sir,
issue.
speak
your voice
without
is
your
not
video.
coming.
Sir, I'm speaking without the video.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, now am I audible? Shall I speak?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
yes, sir. So according to me, leading is the most important among the four functions. Reason being, when we were being taught about leading, you told us that influencing people in a way that we can affect them or they can prove themselves to be efficient and effective for an organization. Influencing people in an organization is very important, and this can be done only when we are good leaders and we know how to lead. Like for example, we cover three aspects: maintaining, molding, and managing. So these are all parts of leadership. If you're able to do these three things, then I think you will be proved more efficient and effective, and also the people who are working with you and and around you, they'll be able to contribute in the organization in a more efficient manner. So that's why I think leading is more important.
But a plan is
Yatendra
needed
now,
even.
please. Just a minute, just a minute, just a minute. Let us listen to Yatendra.
Organization. So build up the organization, you need a plan first, and then the leading part, managing part, organizing parts come into the existence. So for starting any organization, the planning is important.
Okay.
So planning is the primary thing that I'm thinking.
Okay. Pratiksha, you were saying something.
Yes, sir. So I do agree with what Yatendra was saying, but sir, we should know if 100 or 150 people are working under us, then we should be aware of their particular qualities, which quality will suit which sector and which responsibility can be given to them. And this thing comes under leading. We should be aware of what their particular speciality is. After that, only we can make more efficient the work may be more efficiently done.
So
I
I
think
thought,
that.
so I
Sir,
thought that
I would
what
just like
Can
to
I add
pitch in
something
what
more?
Pratika has recently said.
Hmm.
Sir, she has correctly mentioned that leading requires that, assigning the jobs according to the capabilities. But to understand the capability, also we need a proper plan. Because if we are not defined, if we are not clear about our plan, then we may not be able to assign the work according to the capabilities of our different employees or different organization or sectors. Planning will be a primary thing, and all other things will come under the umbrella term of planning, because if we have a proper plan, then we will be able to influence more effectively. What Anam has recently mentioned about influencing ability of a leader. So if we have a proper plan, we will be able to influence our employees more effectively. We will be able to organize the things more effectively by dividing the work among the people, and allocation of the resources will also come after planning. So indeed, all the points are necessary, but they all come under the umbrella term of planning. First, we have to do a proper
yes,
planning, and then only we can do others.
So, are there
So,
some in favor of controlling also?
so
Yes, sir.
controlling is the last step. I think so. It is not that much important.
Not that
So
in the sense
controlling will again be the last. Controlling will definitely be an important step, sir. But it will again come after planning, because when till till we have organized the plan, till we have organized the work we are about to do, there is no need for controlling. We can only control.
Sir,
We can only
planning.
monitor after we have allocated
So
the
may
work.
I speak?
Sir,
yes.
planning is a process that will standardize the
May I
controlling
contribute? May
and
I
other
speak?
parts as well.
The estimate, as I requested that when you speak, please switch on your video first. Umar, so if you want to say something, please
So
switch on
sorry,
your
sir.
video.
Sir, planning is a process which will standardize the controlling, the leading. Without a proper planning, we will not be able to know whom to lead, what to lead. We will have no strategic plan, no objectives to set. Then what we will do if there is not a proper plan? The rest part will come, but the first part for is the most important is planning.
Okay, Adil wanted to say something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think that we are not focusing on the fact that if we do not include planning, we are doing things impromptu. We are doing things on the spot. And it might work once or twice, but if we have a habit of doing things on the spot, not planning ahead of time, then everything falls apart at the point at which it matters the most. So even if we have to lead, planning sits at the core of leading, organizing, anything. Planning is the primary thing in all three of those.
Fine. I think I've listened to all the arguments. Now I will.
Sir, I want to add more. Can I?
Yes.
For planning, nobody will. I don't think anyone will listen if we won't select any if we won't select any leader, then I don't think the planning will be done efficiently, because no one is going to listen. Everyone is going to speak at once. So there should be some people who to lead that meeting or so.
Okay, fine. I think Lavkesh has also written his views on planning, and he feels that the this is the function, in the sense that this is the starting function. And we have some quotes also which express this idea. Like, for example, it says that planning is the locomotive, is the engine that drives the entire train. So there have been strong views on planning also, but and there could be difference of opinion. So there is no as such the best view on this. We look at things from our own perspective. We have already discussed it, isn't it? But I would like you to reflect on this question in the light of, let us say, Sir Syed's effort of creating this institution. Because the effort required planning, the effort, because institutions will not come into being just like that. But institutions also require leadership, an uplifting vision, for example, we talked about. And it requires resources. In fact, it requires huge resources. Just look at the buildings that we have created in the initial phase. Look at the stretchy hall which was built, isn't it? So, yes, for creating a structure like this, you need resources. And those resources have to be arranged from somewhere. So what do you think in the light of this experience or this example? Controlling is also very important in the sense that if you look at institutional perspective, one of the serious setbacks that Sir Syed faced in his lifetime was a fraud which was committed. And at that point, I think more than a lakh of rupees were siphoned off from the college funds. And somebody forged his signature, continued to forge his signature, who was very close to him. And in fact, Sir Syed aged before his age because of that. And it happened at the fag end of his life. it is good fortune that this was discovered during his lifetime. Otherwise, had it happened after he was gone, he might have been blamed for, this. So, keeping a tab on what is happening is also very important.
So, I think we haven't mentioned this term, the term coordinating. Like, obviously, like if I am to choose between planning, organizing, directing, and controlling, leading and controlling, then I would choose the term planning, because unless and until we have a plan, we don't know in which direction we are supposed to lead. We don't know in how are we supposed to control. And plan also includes the you know the creation of idea, the generation of idea is also part of planning itself. But keeping all these functions aside, if I look at the term coordinating, then I think coordinating is the most important aspect that a manager should focus on, because until and unless he is able to have a proper coordination between all these four functions, the management won't be successful.
Yes, but generally we, because that is the problem of definitions. We compartmentalize things. So, for example, if we look at the management literature, it is classified as one of the function in organizing. So, when we take up the second unit, we'll talk about the coordination. So, or staffing also part of organizing. So, but what the point which I want you to reflect on, again, in the light of Sir Syed's example, all plans require an uplifting vision. If Sir Syed was not clear as to what he set out to do, and share that uplifting vision with the people, with a core group of people who would then buy that idea, how would we have a team? And Sir Syed was set out to do a job when the environment was totally against it. In fact, he faced maximum opposition to his idea from his own community, who were not ready to buy his idea. So how do you, influencing was the one of the term which was used by somebody. How do you influence? Others' thought process. Yes,
Maybe from the leading qualities.
Your act of leadership. And how do you win them over to your side?
By taking
purpose.
By
Giving them a purpose, why we are having that kind of idea. We need to have a purpose first, so that they will be interested in.
There is a very, very instructive incident in the history of Aligarh movement. When Sir Syed set out to this mission of Talim and Tarbiyat, people were not ready. So he said, let me prepare the ground. And he started this magazine that we are publishing even now, Tehzeebul Akhlaq, the reformer, the social reformer. So it was his organ to, create awareness about his ideas. And when he would publish something, there was a fellow called Mehdi Mia, and he would publish a rebuttal of his idea. That was Sir Syed's grace, that he would publish even the rebuttal in his own magazine. And sometimes Mehdi Mia's ideas would be so powerful and strong that Sir Syed's ideas would fall flat. Sir Syed realized the worth of this person, and he said, what he talks is very weighty and I need to interact with him. And so he wrote a personal letter to him and said, I want to spend time with you and understand our points of differences. So he invited him to come over to his house, and he came to his house. And as is the custom, they had dinner, and then they said, okay, we'll carry out our conversation after that. And then they started discussing. And late through the night, they kept discussing their differences. And they were not able to resolve. And then they said, okay, let us retire, let us sleep over these differences, and we'll discuss it again in the morning. So they went back to their respective beds. In the Mardana portion of such houses that we have, there they were there together. At some point in the night, Mehdi Mia got up and he saw that Sir Syed is not in his bed. So he was a bit surprised, quizzed what has happened, and he went out and he saw that Sir Syed is in the courtyard and moving back and forth there as if, there is some tragic thing has happened. And during that movement back and forth, he would often, start weeping, and he would be crying. Now, Mehdi Mia thought that maybe some bad news he has received, and because of that, he is in such a bad state. So naturally, he inquired, okay, what happened? कोई बुरी खबर आई है क्या? क्या हुआ? What happened? And then Sir Syed made a statement, and he said, कौम का इतना बुरा हाल है, इससे बुरी खबर क्या आएगी? The more I am thinking about it, the more it is disturbing. And then that one statement made such an impact on Mehdi Mia that he said, okay, our differences apart. From tomorrow onwards, we will work together. And in this way, Sir Syed got such an ardent supporter to his cause that this fellow, who later on became Mohsinul Mulk, he was titled as Mohsinul Mulk, and we have a residential hall named after him, MM Hall. That, if university, if this institution, which was only a college when Sir Syed was alive, it became a university, one of the key role was played by Mohsinul. He could carry that torch forward. So how do you get the team?
Sir, by finding a common ground.
And that is an act of leadership. Arranging resources also. I mean, just think about it, how Sir Syed could create such magnificent buildings when he had nothing in his pocket. Even now, when we are flush with grants and funds, we have not been able to create such magnificent buildings. They continue to be our benchmarks. Be it Jama Masjid or that entire heritage block that we have, Asman Manzil and Shrechi Hall and the Beck Lytton Library block. So, I'm all for planning. Yes, we need planning. But creating an institution like this is an act of leadership. Because your planning may change. In fact, tomorrow I would like to begin a discussion on a quote which you can write down and think about it and share your views on this. It says, plans are nothing, planning is everything. And I would like to begin discussion tomorrow on this quote. Plans are nothing. Planning is everything.
Sure, sir.
We'll meet tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
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 Thank you.